It's time to brighten up your smart home with NuBryte.
Simple to install smart panel living with NuBryte Touchpoint.
Welcome everybody, straight from CES 2017. It's another Spike Studio product review. This time we are looking at NuBryte. So this is a touch panel screen for your smart home. And in all honesty up front, this is our second run at this. And why? Because they made a lot of enhancements since we did the original recording. So we basically did a bunch of setup and did a bunch of work, and then they added a bunch of features to it. So we'll talk about those as well. So here's what we want to do. We want to take a look at the few things inside the box, about 30-45 seconds. Then we want to come back and talk about the actual functionality and flow, and then come back again, and we'll give an overall opinion. So here we go.
Up close from NuBryte Touchpoint from Lucis. All-in-one smart living is what they say. It has a ton of capabilities built inside. We're going to look at those live. So this is just talking about how simple the packaging is and what you need to do to get it installed. So inside the box itself. So what you're going to see up front is the actual touchscreen. The touchscreen is a 5-inch. It's an LCD touchscreen. We'll move the touchscreen to the side over here. So this is the actual behind the touchscreen part. As you can see, everything snaps together. This has the actual controls behind it, the up and down, everything else. And then behind that is the actual wiring piece as well as the instruction book underneath. They have great descriptors underneath of how you should hook it up. They tell you about which switches don't use three-way switches, or this is for a single gang. They actually have other options where you can do a double gang. This is for a single gang, as you can tell by the sizing on it. It's going to be a little wider than your normal light switch, but about the same height. You can see they've labeled all your wiring on the back as well. They want to let you know by color coding how to hook everything up. So we're going to go ahead and install this and get to functionality, but that's all the pieces you have inside here besides some screws and an instruction book.
All right, so we looked inside the box. So the next thing we're looking at is once it's installed on the wall. I can tell you, and honestly, it took about 8 to 9 minutes to install totally, just because I want to be sure the wires are right, turning off power, turning back on power to test the light. The panel is easy to snap on. It's so simple to put together once you get it there. And then the rest of the time was just spent configuring. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but first, let's see what the application and the actual interface can do. So we're up close with the panel itself. As you can see, the screen is off right now. I have it set that way. It doesn't have the proximity set. You have to touch it to activate. Proximity is also built because this little shutter thing they have is for privacy feature, but part of the security as well is they have this little shutter that opens and closes on their proximity and camera sensor. So I'm going to touch the screen and we're going to activate it. Automatically goes to the lighting for you. Right now, as you can see, the lighting is off and it remembers the last percentage it was set at. As you can see, it's really dim. What's cool about it is I can turn the light on and off with this, but with the percentage itself, I can go in and use pinch to zoom and brighten up the background. It'll remember that if I go back, that now as you see, it's at 73%. So with the simple button on and off, also we'll talk about the application. It does work with it as well, and you can control other lights and some other things. You know what, I'll save that for later in the review. Now on the sides, we have some actual side controls on each side. This one, microphone. What's it for? It's only for an intercom system with other panels that are in the same connected home network. It won't let you use the app to connect. It doesn't have any listen cap. It's basically record and send a message to broadcast to other touchpoint panels. So it replaces the old home intercom systems that you had. We talked about lighting controls over here. We'll get to the home menu. There's one other feature, and that's down here, security feature. You can activate the security feature, which can do things like trigger the alarm. It can blink the lights. It can grab a little snippet and store that. There's a couple of features you can do with it. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back to the home menu and take a look at the other things. We talked about lighting controls, and of course, we have weather controls. So it gives you the current temperature and humidity in the room you're in, the outside temperature, but if you notice, there's a tiny little menu here at the top. You can actually scroll through these to get things like outside temperature, what it's gonna be. You can get the forecast. You do input where you live or where you want the forecast for, and a 5-day forecast. Also back on the home menu, of course, the lovely clock. You can set it in 24-hour format. You can set it in normal times, whatever you want to do, but it does have an alarm capability. So if you had this in a bedroom or whatever, and a timer capability. Now, there is some calendar integration coming as well, which is pretty cool. Last piece, power usage. This will show you how much power and usage you've used by average, by days, and whatever you're using. That's a really cool feature to me as well. Last part in the settings. Settings has everything you need from setting the appearance in the screensavers, connecting to your networks, lighting controls, security controls, what you want it to do when the security systems go off. Do you want to set security codes? There's all sorts of little hidden ones that are in here as well, which is really cool. There's a wizard that you walk through to do the setup if you need to. Under general, there's audio settings, how loud it should be, where is this actual NuBryte Touchpoint located. You can give it a name if you want to, give the different fixtures. There's a lot of different things. So let's look at the application, compare, and then get our overall review.
So a real quick look at the app. As you can see, it looks just like the interface on the touchscreen that we had. We'll go ahead and we'll launch the app. So the app launches into the actual light mode, almost like what you saw at the switch itself. This is a simple on and off, but you can control rooms individually. So if I go to the simple room, I am able to turn it on. I can actually control the dim and brightness out here just the same as I could there. It's all working live. I could show you both, but you get the idea. And then turning the light off is just the same way as it was before. You simply touch it, the light is off. You can control the whole home from here using all rooms, or you can go to individual rooms. If you go back to your home screen, it looks just like the interface you saw outside on the actual touch panel itself, but instead they put it on the mobile. It has the security, it has the temperature, which is different. It uses a different symbol with the little, the water. It's very strange. The way it did that. So there's a little bit of color matching, but not necessarily the image itself. I mean, light is simple, security is simple. The calendar, like we said, is now integrating a little bit better. And then, of course, power usage and then the settings. You can control everything about the settings from inside of here. You can go in the device list to control each one individually, so all that's available to you as well. It does by default always go back to this main screen. Now, one of the things you can do and actually set on the touch panel out there is set what you want to do in terms of the screen that shows. I have it set to do the clock. You can have it do weather. You can have it do your own custom photo. You can have it rotate through everything. Anything you want to do is capable there. So one last piece is just like we showed on there is you do have the security. A little bit different interface. That one had a big X and a check mark. This one just says activate. Right now it's inactive, so you can actually turn this on or off. We can go back to home. So pretty much that's what you're going to get from it. If the security does activate, you will get, of course, an alert. You will get some recorded camera video and get you back to the rest of the review.
Okay, so we're back. We've shown you what it can do. It has a few simple screens that you work with. Now, a few things, and I'm not holding the product because, well, it's mounted on the wall, of course. Keep in mind you want to choose the right one. They have a single gang, multi-gang. You have a couple options there for what you're going to install in terms of light switch. New functionality coming, it will support things like ceiling fans. They have added Alexa support, so you can now talk to your Amazon Echo or talk to the Dot, and you can tell it to turn lights on, turn lights off, do all the cool stuff like that. They've added Google Calendar integration. At first it was a manual, now they've actually got that working with the Google Calendar, so you can sync that. It uses, of course, your Wi-Fi. Make sure a few things. Right now, 2.4 gigahertz is supported for this, not your 5G networks, things like that, so you still need 2.4 gigahertz. The security function. We think that could be a lot better. It does grab that little bit of video. You can get notifications. It can blink lights, make sounds, things like that. But I'd really like to see some more interactive work. I'd love to see modules from NuBryte work with this. So not only do I just have to walk in front of the proximity when I'm in security mode, but what if it picked up a motion detector farther away across the room? Or what if it picked up a door opening somewhere like that and it just kicks on and records and doesn't send off all the signals? So there's a lot of things I'd like to see them work with and add on side products to work with this. The intercom system, you must have another NuBryte somewhere in the same connected network for the intercom to work. They've also added a feature where you can send up to like a minute voice recorded message. But that intercom is NuBryte panel to NuBryte panel. The app does nothing, so you can't listen in on a panel, and you also can't send a message to the panel or to a device in the application. We had one problem with the app itself. We actually got it to install fine on iOS 10. Couldn't get it to go on 9. I talked to NuBryte support, so helpful. They were great and walked me through everything I needed to know. Otherwise, interface is simple, easy to scroll through, easy control, pinch and zoom, dim the lights, everything else you need to do. Hope you enjoyed the review. Please follow all our videos from CES 2017. We have a ton of product reviews coming. It's another product review from Spike Studio.